be ready for the derby.
Oh, okay.
In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, everybody in chat. Hello to Firetog. Hello to John Harris. Hello to Chelsea Flyer. And all you guys there waiting for the stream to start. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Good evening, Sultan Saeed. Good evening, Chelsea Flyer. Yasin Klus, Bilal. Welcome. The FPL Crisp Packet. We've got Tobias there as well. Daily Llama in chat. How are you doing, Daily Llama? Samir Khan, Dread FPL, Harbour Boy, Daniel Jarman, G Wiz, and more. Hey, Paulie, how's it going? Are you guys all excited? For this game week? The double game week. Llama, I hope you get your PC fixed soon, my friend. I really do, because we've missed in those Llama lounges, aren't we, guys? I just wanted to quickly just invite anyone on that wants to join me this evening in talking about game week 29, or double game week 29 as it is, with Man City playing twice, and the fixtures, obviously with Arsenal and Man City playing twice, the fixtures are looking not the best. I'm not going to say I'm that excited, but we've got Samir K in the waiting room. So if I bring Samir K in on Discord, Samir, good evening. You're live on the show. How are you doing?
I'm good, Jason. How about you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you, Samir. Are you looking forward to game week 29? I've just kind of said to the guys in the chat that it's not really, that exciting for me. But maybe that's because I don't have many chips left. What about yourself?
Yeah, I have all my chips so far.
You've got all your chips,
Left.
yeah?
Yeah, got all my chips left.
So what are you planning on doing for game week 29?
I already have Bruyne in for double game week, but Ali is not fit to play for the first game.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of interesting comments on social media and in Discord about Kevin De Bruyne. Jason's quiet or the call is loud. Let me bring the volume down on the caller and bring me up. There we go. Right. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit better. Let me know if I need to adjust the volumes again, because I did unplug some USB devices, and when you tend to do that, stuff starts to mess up. So let me just quickly turn up my volume. One moment. There we go. Try that. Hopefully that's a bit louder now. Let me know if that's better. Are you deaf, Llama? Is there someone in chat? Caller is really loud. Okay, 1 second. Let's bring the caller down. So Samir, okay, so you brought in KDB. Are you worried about KDB? Yeah. Yes or no?
Yeah, I think I'm worried about him. I was thinking of captaining him, but after I checked my team, he was yellow. I checked his injury, and Pep might go. He might not be fit to play for the first game.
Yeah, it's a bit vague. The information we're getting is not. It's not really committed information from Pep. Obviously, he's been kind of keeping his cards close to his chest. Could it be a bit of gamesmanship on his behalf to try and make Ole Gunnar Solskjaer second guess his team selection? Who knows? I certainly own KDB, and I won't be getting him out of my team. But then again, I have done a transfer already, so I would have had to have done a -4, and I don't think it's worth taking a -4 in this double game week for anyone else to take out for KDB. Some of the guys in chat said City going to have a party against United, Maguire and AWB injured. Maybe. I do expect them to score. Good evening, Alpine FPL. How you doing? KDB's gone for Wiz. FPL Chris Packet also used Charlie saying that Pep's playing mind games. So yes, interesting. Ozil, says Davey P. No, Davey P, I don't know if you've heard, he's been bigging up Ozil in recent days. What's your thoughts, Samir, on Ozil as an option for this double game week? Samir.
Yeah, hello. You cut out.
What's your thoughts on Ozil this double game week?
Ozil, it could be a good differential. I'm not sure about him. I don't think I'm putting him in the squad, but from Arsenal, I think Aubameyang could be a great captain pick. People transfer Aubameyang this week.
I'm hoping he is a great differential or a great captain pick. At least I don't think he'd be much of a differential. I think a lot of people are getting him, like you say. That says it all about Ozil, says John Harris in chat. Yeah, not a lot. I mean, Davey P, if it works out for you, my friend, like Steve-O said, Could be massive, but I don't know if I would put any trust in Ozil, to be honest with you. I don't think many Arsenal fans would put trust in Ozil, let alone FPL managers. Right, so Sammy, are you wanting to go through this game week's fixtures and predict some of the results with me?
Yeah, sure. You can carry on, Jason.
All right, okay. So Wiz has got 3.7 million in the bank at the moment, and I heard Dread FPL in the Discord saying that he's keeping his options open. I don't think Wiz wants options. I think Wiz wants FPL points at the moment. So trick is to convert those millions into FPL points. Wiz, you've got a few weeks to do it. Firetog talking about Ceballos. I mean, it reminds me about game week 1 when I was talking about Ceballos myself. He just never really shown his full potential in my opinion for Arsenal this season so far. Right, anyway, the early kickoff, which is going to be the one where everyone's going to be looking for early team news on Twitter and other social media outlets. It's at 12:30 on Saturday on my birthday, and it's Liverpool home to Norwich. Liverpool at home to Bournemouth. Could this be the game that we see Liverpool players rested? Could it be another shock defeat for Liverpool? Could Bournemouth get a victory or a draw? What's your thoughts, Samio? Do you think that this game could be a bogey team for Liverpool? Or do you think, no, it's just a blip and it's going to be normal service resuming for Liverpool and the Klopp?
I think for this game, I think Mane probably get rotated for this game because he played a lot of minutes for the FA Cup against Chelsea, defeating 2-0. But I think Salah will play. Firmino will return to the team, but I don't know. I'm not sure for the Mane's position at the moment.
Interesting. So possibly your thoughts on Mane being the one that's rotated. I think Salah has potential to be rotated as well. Not good news for those people owning both, of course. If that was to be the case, I saw Steve-O's predictions on this. I think he went with a 2-0 win to Liverpool. I think I'm going to be in agreement with him, and I'm going to say 2-0 to Bournemouth. I keep saying Bournemouth. I don't know why. It's like subliminal score predictions here. Liverpool 2-0 to win this game. What was your score prediction, Samir?
I think Liverpool. I think shaking at the back due to in the FA Cup you see Pedro, Barkley running past Van Dijk and Gomez. The defense a bit shaky, but I think for this game, I think it will 3-1 to Liverpool. I think they will concede.
3-1 to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And obviously moving on to the 3:00 kickoff, Samir. Are any of those games that are going to stand out for you FPL wise in your team that you're going to be looking closely at?
I have Danny Ings, have Jota, I have Traore playing. I hope he plays, and playing as well.
You say you had Shane Long?
No, Danny Ings. Sorry.
Yeah. So who did you say you had at the end? You're breaking up a little bit.
I had Traore and Jota.
Traore and Jota, right? Okay. So the question is, Wolves. They're in great form at the moment against Brighton, who I don't really rate. So I think you having Jimenez and Jota could, much like Steve-O, could work out really well this game week. But let's start with Arsenal at home to West Ham. Obviously, we talked about Aubameyang a minute ago. Your thoughts on this fixture? Do you think West Ham can put up a fight against Arsenal, or do you think it could be 2 or 3 goals in favour of the home team?
West Ham put up a fight in Liverpool. They gave up when they conceded a goal. I think West Ham will give it a try against Arsenal. Will go for a try for Arsenal to get me.
Give me a score prediction on this one.
For this prediction, I think probably 2-1 to Arsenal.
2-1 to Arsenal. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one, Samir. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be goals on both ends. I think Arsenal just edge it in the end with the quality up front that they have. And yeah, I think West Ham will probably score. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-1. The guys in chat saying Harbour Boy says 2-2. The Don says 2-2. Yassine or Yakir Hanoch says 3-1 to Arsenal. Aubameyang brace. I'll take that. Tobias says, Aubameyang captain on fire, absolutely. FPL Chris Packet says 3-2 to Arsenal. Tobias says 2-1 to Arsenal. Davey P says 1-all. Interesting. So yeah, moving on from that one and rapidly on to Palace at home to Watford. Is this a fixture that you're going to have anyone playing in?
I was thinking of putting. I was heard about Torreira's injury. I was about to put in Saab on my way one more. See how he plays against Crystal Palace.
And your thoughts on the game? Do you think this? Who do you think is going to edge this?
I think Watford can beat Crystal Palace. I think the score will be 2-0 to Watford.
2-0 to Watford. Yeah, I'm going to go with a 1-0 win to Watford on that one. And I have done that. I have actually done that transfer. I've done Traore out for Ismail Assar in. So yes, I've already done that transfer. I did that a few days ago. When Traore...
For a free transfer or you play the minus?
No, just for a free transfer. So
okay.
I'm going to be looking forward to watching that. Watching at least the replays back on that game and seeing Sarr score some goals. That'd be quite nice because I do think that he will against Palace. Guys in chat saying 2-1 Watford. 2-1 Watford says FPL Maestro Bilal Qureshi. Michael Svedin says 2-1 to Palace. Hopefully a Foster clean sheet, says Charlie in chat. 1-0 says Davey P to Palace. Let's go Sarr, says Block FPL. Absolutely. Great transfer, Jason. It will definitely pay off. Thank you, Bilal. 2-0 to Palace, says Boona in chat. Interesting. What about Van Arnold, says Charlie. What have you done with Van Arnold? Are you going to be playing in Block FPL in that game? I've got to wait a week for my Sarr transfer. Really, G-Wiz? Really? You're going to wait a week? Okay. That's a week's worth of points you're going to be missing out on.
Yeah, same with me. I'm still dubious of that.
Still dubious on him. His quality. He was scoring big before he got injured, and he scored big when he came back. I think he's a quality player. Decore is also a good differential. Absolutely, Bilal, but I just can't see past Sarr, to be honest with you. Right, moving on to the Sheffield United game versus Norwich. Sheffield United absolutely having a storming season. Lots of people owning at least one Sheffield United defenders. Going into this game, can you see Norwich upsetting Chris Wilder's party?
They upset Tottenham in the FA Cup on penalties.
They did.
Tim Krul save. But I think Sheffield United can beat Norwich. I think we'll go for a 2-0 win to Sheffield United. 2-0
win to Sheffield United. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Sheffield United. I think that Norwich will probably score in this game and frustrate Sheffield United. I don't think it'll be the most entertaining game of the weekend, but I just think there'll be a few goals. And there's, I think, Flex back to full fitness now as well, and Henderson will be in a goal for a lot of FPL managers. And what are the guys saying in chat here? 2-1 to Norwich, says Ari Roki in chat. FPL Maestro saying 1-0 to Sheffield United. Frode Havorson saying 1-0 Sheffield United. A lot of people going 1-0 Sheffield United at the moment. The Don Yakir. Interesting. 1-0 says Michael Svedin. 1-0 says Charlie. And Pookie Party. Wow. Absolutely. 1-0 Man United. Luke Shaw just scored. Really? Luke Shaw with a goal for Manchester United. Keeping out, of course. Hang on a second. Let's just get up on the... might get up on the radio.
Who are they playing against United?
Derby. They're away at Derby, obviously, against Wayne Rooney. Interesting. Right, so... Was it a good goal, guys? Was it a good goal? Explain it to me. This is when I need Paulie to be in the voice chat so he can tell me exactly what's going on. I wasn't gonna have the game on. I was gonna watch the highlights later on, but I'm gonna listen along to it. I think there. See what's going on in it. Okay, Samir, let's move on to Southampton at home to Newcastle. This game, you've got Danny Ings in this game. Are you excited to own Danny Ings against Newcastle? Do you think he can do much damage?
Yeah, I think he can score a goal against Newcastle. I think he can score a goal against Newcastle.
What's your prediction in this fixture, Southampton Newcastle?
I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win to Southampton.
Another 2-1.
Yep.
Interesting. I am gonna go for this game. Probably, I'm gonna go the other way around. I'm gonna go a Newcastle win. It's gonna upset a load of people, I'm sure, but I think I could see Newcastle getting a shock in this one. Just put in these results here a second. What did I say Arsenal was going to do against West Ham? Yeah, 2-0. Okay. Right, so, yeah, 2-1 to Newcastle in this fixture. Almiron, Manchester will score, says Diane Lama. 2-0 says Tobias. 1-0 says Bilal in chat. 1-0 says the Don to Southampton. 2-1 Southampton. Lots of people going with Southampton getting a result in this fixture. And we move on to the Wolves game. The Wolves game, last of the 3 o'clock kickoffs. A lot of people are going to probably go with the Wolves winning this one. I'm going to start this one. I think Wolves are going to win this 3-1. 3-1 to Wolves. And it's going to be damage limitation. I hope that Jota doesn't get in on as many of these goals. And it would.
I hope he scores.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping Jimenez will keep up with Jota, so I don't lose out on a lot of points in this game. So I'm going to go 3-1 to Wolves with Jota and Jimenez being involved, and it would be just my luck if Traore was to be declared fit and to be involved as well. But people in chat saying 3-0 to Wolves, 3-1, 2-0, Wolves 2-1 says Yakir, 2-1 to Brighton says the Don, and 2-0 to Wolves says Tobias. What's your thoughts on this one in terms of scoreline, Samir?
I think Wolves. I think they'll keep a clean sheet against Brighton because Brighton has conceded a lot of goals past games. I think Wolves can win 3-0 against Brighton.
Cool. No worries. Excellent. So I'm going to go 3-1. And for the final game on the Saturday, Burnley at home to Tottenham. Obviously, Steve-O, I can't remember what Steve-O said in this prediction. But, of course, it's Tottenham losing in the Cup. They're going to want to bounce back. Burnley, can you see them holding out? Keeping at Tottenham at bay with a bit of a weakened front line. Samir in this one?
Yeah, I think this game could be boring. I'm not sure about this game really. But I think this scoreline probably be like 1-1. I think we'll go for this
Of course,
game.
in the last fixture, it was Son who had that wonder goal, wasn't it? With the Burnley defenders backing up. I can't see the same mistake happening again. Oh. Igalo? Bruno Fernandes? Oh. Possible handball in the United game. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so back to the Burnley Tottenham game. I think it's just going to be a boring game. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's going to be won by a 1-goal margin. I'm going to give the goal to Tottenham. I'm going to go 1-0 to Tottenham. Barely scraping through this game. What was your score prediction, Samir?
1-1.
1-1. Okay. Excellent. You're insane, Jason. 5-0 Burnley, says FPL Boona. Boona, what's going on, man? It's your team, my friend. Let's move on to the Sunday games. I know Paulie's there. I'm going to bring Paulie in. Hi, Paulie. I'm just going to bring you in, but we're just moving on to the Sunday fixtures. How's it going, Paulie?
Not bad, how are you?
Yeah, I'm super. Thanks for asking. I'm just going to bring up the Sunday games, which they are. They've got Chelsea at home to Everton, and I personally think that this could be... I think it could be Everton that get the edge on this game. I really do. I think that Chelsea... I know that Steve-O was on about getting Giroud in before the double game week was revealed. I think that would have been interesting. I really do. I think Giroud is a great player, and I think there's a chance of him doing something in this game. Everton's defence is pants, but I can see that Chelsea defence being weak, like just basically ripped open by Everton. I think it being a bit of an open game. I'm gonna go with a 1-1. I'm gonna go with a 1-1 in this fixture. Samir, what's your thoughts on this one?
as a Chelsea fan, I hope we repeat. I hope we repeat performance we played against Liverpool. I think Billy Gilmore will play because Jorginho has been suspended for the game. He picked up another yellow card the earlier Bournemouth game. But I think Chelsea can repeat the performance in Liverpool. I think 2-1 to Chelsea.
Hang on. Igalo has scored for Manchester United to make it 2-0 against Derby. There we go, guys. Igalo, get him in. Get him in. 2-0 Chelsea. Chelsea is red carded, says Jovial. Well, you said it so many times. I thought I'd read it out for you. Yes, it is 2-0 to Manchester United. But yeah, sorry, what was the predictions, Samir? I didn't quite hear.
2-1 to Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea. Right, okie dokie. Okie dokie. Moving on to the final game of Sunday. Man United at home to Man City. Now this, I think we can do something in this game against a weakened Man City defence. I think we've got the momentum in recent games now with Bruno Fernandes. Pogba rumoured to be coming back into full fitness soon. I think that things may be starting to change. The tide may be starting to turn slightly at Manchester United. Yes, you heard that right, guys. You heard that right. I think could be a bit of positive coming out to the latter half of this season for Man United, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory to Manchester United. That's right. 2-1. Let's see what you guys are saying in chat. What do you think about that, Samir?
I think 2-1 United. I think Bruno Fernandes can score in that game, and I'm hoping he can score for because the transfer win for last game and the transfer did pay off. But I think it can be. I think this game can be a draw. I'm going for a 2-2. 2-2.
2-2. Interesting.
Yeah.
Would it be 2-2 assuming KDB's playing? If KDB's not playing, would you still keep that as 2-2?
If KDB is playing, I think we'll go for 1-1.
1-1 if KDB's playing?
He's not playing.
1-1 if KDB is not playing. And 2-2 if he is.
Yeah.
Interesting. Paulie, what's your thoughts on this game, Man United, Man City?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be as one-sided as they have over the past few years. Even without KDB, though, I still think Man City will win by a goal. I've actually gone 2-1 to Man City. So I do think Man U will score.
No, it's gonna be. I think we're gonna pull it out the bag at Old Trafford. So Old Trafford, I think.
I hope we do. I just think Man City are just too strong still.
Interesting. Wow. Okay, so we talked about it. It's a double game week, and we'll move on to the Monday evening fixture. Leicester home to Villa. I think that Vardy is going to come back into scoring ways in this game. People sticking with him will be hopefully paid back their patience. For those of you, anyone in chat that's got Vardy?
I still got Vardy.
You still got Vardy. Awesome. Okay. Or the Maddison, the frustration of recent weeks. I own Pereira. I'm hoping that Villa don't score and that Pereira can get me a sneaky assist or something better than that. I'll be hoping that Grealish stays quiet in this fixture. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for Leicester. Samir?
I think I'm going same as you, Jason. 2-0 win to Leicester.
2-0. Yakir in chat, 2-1 to Leicester. Michael Svedin says 2-0 Vardy brace, says Michael Svedin. 2-1 Leicester, says Sultan Saeed. 1-0 to Leicester, Pereira goal. I'll take that, Anish. Every day of the week I'll take that. 3-1 Leicester, Perez hat-trick, says Daily Llama. A scrapped 1-0 win. Leicester only beat Birmingham 1-0 at home with pretty much a full-strength team, says Charlie in chat. 3-0 Leicester, says Dread FPL. Soyuncu clean sheet would be sweet, says Sultan Saeed. Lots of people, of course, owning Soyuncu. Leicester 1, Villa 1, says Moody in chat. Jason, do a Pereira to Doherty swap. I don't want to do a -4. I've already done my transfer this week. Traore to Ismaili Sarr. it was my transfer to bring in that Watford player. And I did think at the time that Traore was out for a little while, but there's rumours saying that he could be back into contention, which will be interesting. But I do think that Sarr is a better asset going forward. Ryan saying Villa 1-0. God, that'd be a spoiler, wouldn't it? Let's move on to the second game for Manchester City this Wednesday, 11th of March. City at home to Arsenal. I think that this could be a bit of a gold fest, potentially, this one for both teams. I'm going to go with a 4-2 win for Man City. That's right, 4-2. Bit crazy. What's your thoughts on that one, Samir? Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, it's actually just left.
He's just literally left. Paulie, what's your thoughts on the Man City Arsenal game?
Yeah, I think there'd be goals as well. I've gone 3-1 to Man City.
3-1 to Man City.
Yeah.
Just a one goal for Arsenal then.
Yeah, just the one.
Aubameyang. Okay, of course, it'll be captain for a lot of people. Let's bring Samir back into the chat. Samir, can you hear me? You got yourself muted, Samir, by the way.
Oh, sorry, Jason, I got disconnected.
No worries,
Sorry,
Samir. No worries. I was just saying to Paulie, I've gone with a 4-2 victory for Man City in this fixture on Wednesday. What's your thoughts? Hello, Samir.
Oh, no, I can hear you. Sorry about that. Connection for the moment.
What's your thoughts on the Man City game this midweek?
Oh, Man City game against Arsenal. I think Man City would trash Arsenal.
Yeah, I've gone with a 4-2 prediction. What's your thoughts?
Jason, I think I'm just make 1-1 stand at Arsenal score. I think 4-1 to City.
4-1 to City. Wayne Rooney just picking up a yellow card, I'm hearing on the radio as well. A boring 0-0 says UK lad in chat with a laugh out loud emoji. Of course. Obergel, Saka assist. I hope Saka doesn't do anything. Of course, Steve-O's got him in. Steve-O will be listening back to this. Yes, I am very interested in that Saka pick. He has been doing very well this season for Arsenal. Yo. I'm going to try and say it in Dre Zera's enthusiasm. Yo. I have no idea what's happening as I checked onto the stream and on mute and intermission watching the theatre with the star being the lady who's tattooing me in 12 days. Mad thing. But 1-0 City. 1-0 City, says Dre. Interesting, only the one goal. I think there'll be more, but of course, everyone's got their own take on things. Hey, Dre, how's it going? So you're at the theatre at the moment, in the intermission at the theatre. Well, absolutely gold. What are you watching at the theatre? But Samir, are you so confident then for this game week then? Your team, let's see your team. Can you post your team for me in the Discord screenshots?
It's been posted. I posted that, Jason. I posted in the team speaker.
I got you, mate. I've got you. Let's bring it up.
It's just gone half-time, manual, Jason.
Half-time at Man United. Good game?
Yeah.
Is it a good game?
Yeah, Manu have had most of the possession. They've actually created a few chances.
Well, it's only Derby though, isn't it? It's no disrespect.
But, yeah.
Luke Shaw's pretty a strong team.
Yeah, well. Luke Shaw's goal apparently hit Lingard on back and went in.
Are they giving it to Lingard?
I've not seen it's been changed, but it did hit Lingard on back and then looked over goal.
Oh my God, no way! They're gonna get a goal.
And Luke Shaw will have got the assist as well for Igalo's goal.
Wow.
But he's also being booked as well, Luke Shaw. So.
Of course, Luke Shaw keeping Williams at bay at the moment. Patricio, this team on screen is Samir K's team for this upcoming double game week. Patricio, very strong. I like it. Gomez, Alexander-Arnold, Stevens, I like. All with home fixtures. All your defenders with home fixtures. I really like that. De Bruyne, the only player you've got from Man City with the yellow flag, of course. I think that it's 50-50. Well, I think it's 50-50 if he plays, to be honest with you. Toss a coin. But if he does feature, you'd expect him to be up and involved in the bonus points and the FPL points. So probably one of the best City assets you can have in your team this coming game week. And I think it'd be mad to get rid of him. Be interested to see what is said tomorrow. Fernandez, great pick, home to City, of course. I own him as well. I think a lot of people brought him in over the recent weeks. Salah, captain. Interesting. Home to Bournemouth. You've also got Traore. Now, this is a player that you just talked about possibly getting out. Maybe not this week, but perhaps the next game week. And up front, you've got Vardy, Jota, and Ings. A very, very sensible, strong starting 11. I like it. Let's quickly have a look at your bench. You've got Cantwell on your bench, Lascelles and Tomori. So talk me through your team and where you think the strengths and the weaknesses are.
From my current starting 11, I think it's strong team. If De Bruyne, I hope he starts against Arsenal. If he didn't start against United, hope he starts against Arsenal to give me at least some points. And I hope Traore is fit to play against Brighton, because Brighton hasn't kept clean sheets that much. So I hope he's played. But my bench, I'm worried. I might, if Traore is not starting for Chelsea, but last game he started against Bournemouth, I think he played good. That game he played amazing. I think he should take a place in Chelsea's squad. But I think I'll probably change my bench. This is my bench really.
I mean, it's a solid. Who would you play over him? Sorry.
What player, Jason?
Traore.
Traore. I might. I'm about to say Lascelles, but I think Southampton can't score against Newcastle.
You've got Ings, haven't you? That's the thing. You've got Ings in there. I mean, looking at your team.
Probably Cantwell.
Yeah.
Probably Cantwell.
Yeah, Cantwell probably stands out there. Now, I think you've set your team up perfectly fine. I think you've got Traore. If you're not looking to take Traore out of your team, have you done a transfer? Did you say or not?
No.
So you've held off. So you can if you want to, but you're gonna try and roll your transfer this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what any news on Traore news. See if he's fit to play or not.
Now, question for you. I know that a few people have said that they're going to be listening out for early Twitter team news and stuff. If you find out 10 minutes before the deadline that Salah is going to be rested for the game at Bournemouth, are you tempted to take him out?
Who, Salah?
Yeah. Say if you find early team news from a reliable source says that Salah is rested, benched, home to Bournemouth. Do you keep him in your team, or are you looking to move him on?
Oh, I'm not sure about that, Jason. It seems what the sources say about who's going to get dropped. Mane or Salah. People are saying Mane is going to get dropped because he played a lot of minutes in the FA Cup. And Salah did get benched for the FA Cup against Chelsea. So if Salah gets benched that game, but I think I'm keeping in the squad.
Cool. Okay, no problem. So you roll in a transfer for the next game week. I like the look at your team, to be honest with you. I think you've set it up really perfectly. Cantwell first sub, coming in the event that Traore or De Bruyne doesn't play. Lascelles is your second sub. I think you're going to be in for some good points. So I like the look of Vardy. I like the look of Jota. You've got Ings there as well. Very, very strong front three. Balanced team with a very strong midfield. Obviously Traore, that's the big question mark there, and De Bruyne, of course, we talked about. It's a real shame that we don't know concrete news on De Bruyne. Maybe we might know more before the deadline, and it might force your hand. Have you considered De Bruyne out for anyone else? Yes or no?
De Bruyne.
Maybe out for sake Mahrez or Sterling. Have you considered that?
Nah, I think for Man City assets, I think De Bruyne is the best pick. In my opinion, I think De Bruyne is the best pick no matter what.
I've seen people doing it. I've seen people getting rid of De Bruyne, bringing in the likes of Sterling, Mahrez, and have you been interested in picking up any Arsenal players at all?
Arsenal, Aubameyang. I was thinking of Aubameyang.
And obviously, would have probably meant you doing a -4 to bring in Aubameyang, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the real -4.
Which of your front
I
three
was
would
thinking
that be to make way for Aubameyang if you were to bring him in?
Before I was before I was thinking of who to put in for the Man City or Arsenal with them double game week. I was thinking of because Vardy was injured, he had a flag on him. I was thinking of removing him because I was unsure that he'd be fit to play. I would took out Vardy out, or maybe if Traore wasn't fit to play, I would took him out. That I had 0.7 in the bank. I think should have enough for Aubameyang. Maybe put a cheap option or that regular starts.
Okay, Interesting. So yeah, I think you should be confident for this week. Like I said, I look at your team, and do you think he'll be making any changes before the deadline? Or
Yeah, I was thinking of a transfer move. Uh, if I find news about Traore, I will take him out, take Traore out and Stevens out to bring Bowley, Wolves defender,
Yeah.
and Traore. Who I could take a punt on Saw if Traore is not fit to play for that game. So if Traore wasn't fit to play for that game, I would have put in Bowley, Stevens out for Bowley in, and we'll take a Traore out for Saw in.
Of course, bringing in another player that's playing in 31. I like it. Yeah, I think that I think the -4 for Saar possibly bit risky. But I think moving forward, like I said, for the blank game week, it could work out quite well to help you navigate through it. So yeah, we'll see what the guys in chat say. Hit that like button as well, guys. If you're new to the stream, or you're just turning up into the stream, hit that like button, guys. Let's get the likes going, so we get up the listings on YouTube's. And also we'll be opening up the chat for other callers as well. If you're interested in coming on, please join the waiting room. We'll get you on. We'll talk about your team. Come into Discord. Talk about it.
Jason, next question. Would you consider bringing back Aguero for the double game?
Would I consider bringing in Aguero for the double game week? I did it last year, and he got rested for one of the games. They're two big games for Man City. Man United and Arsenal are two really big games. If I didn't have to worry about anything else and I had the money available, would I do Aguero for a hit? Probably not. No, but if I could do Aguero, I mean, let's be honest. If I can afford Aguero, there's a good chance that I've already got Aubameyang in my team, so probably wouldn't be switching out Aubameyang to Aguero. But if I had the money available to do Aguero, I'd probably just do Aubameyang instead. I guess that's the answer to the question.
I think you owned Jesus at one moment when you missed the penalty. You were furious about that penalty miss.
Yeah, but I just think that if you've got the money available to bring in a premium striker like Aguero, I think it's more sensible to bring in Aubameyang due to the fact he's guaranteed the minutes more, you would imagine. And he's also quite lethal in front of goal. So, Sammy, thank you ever so much for coming on this evening and talking to me and predicting with me.
You, Jason.
And I hope to speak to you again soon.
All right, Jason.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you, Sammy. Take care now. Speak to you soon. That was Sammy, everybody. Paulie, are you enjoying this game?
It's been quite entertaining, actually.
I heard that Rooney got a yellow card. Was it pretty feisty? Has it been quite a feisty game?
Rooney actually did a tackle like that in about the 5th minute on McTominay. Actually, you know how he goes in 100% every time. He went in 100% on McTominay, but luckily he did get the ball, didn't touch McTominay, and he did the same to Fred right at the end, and that's why he got the yellow card from.
Wayne Rooney, can he still cut it in the Premier League, in your opinion?
I think he can. He's been playing a little bit deeper in this game, though, so it's been more like where McTominay's playing for Man United. He's been getting forward, but he's been spraying the ball about from centre circle and everything. He'll be able to do a job still. Bruno
Fernandes doing apparently people talking about him in the chat saying he's having another masterclass. Is it true?
Yeah, he's just really good.
I'm so glad we signed him.
He did actually have a little bit of a scare though. He went up for a header and landed full on his lower back and his hip.
Oof.
He was hobbling around for a couple of minutes, but he seemed to have ran that off.
That's good. We've got.
It wouldn't surprise me actually if they do take Fernandes off and give him a little bit of a break if they get the third, for example.
We've got some people waiting in the waiting room. I'll bring them on now.
No problem.
Let's just bring in Dread FPL, One Rivers Vlogs.
Antonio
and... Hello.
Evening, Jace. How are you?
Hello, Charlie. What's going on, buddy? Hello.
Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. I'm all good.
So, thank you guys all enjoying the Man United game?
Yeah. It's 2-0 in it to United.
It is, yes, absolutely. I just wanted to quickly throw up my team on the stream, so if you can see, I've got Alisson in goal at home to Bournemouth. I'm actually quite happy with my team for this double game week, even though I only own 2 players that are playing in the double. Apologies, I've got this really tickly cough, just doesn't want to go away. Alexander-Arnold home to Bournemouth, Aurier away at Burnley, Pereira at home to Aston Villa. All three players very, very attacking for their teams and able to get in on the goals and on the assists. Charlie, what are you doing, mate?
No, it's just my PS4. I've just moved away.
No worries. Yeah, and Kevin De Bruyne in my team, like a lot of people, just holding on to hoping that he'll play minutes in those fixtures. We got Salah at home to Bournemouth. I'm giving him the vice captain at the moment. I'm not quite convinced I'm going to be giving him the armband, but that could change. Sarr away at Crystal Palace. Fernandes at home to Man City. Aubameyang with a double. Jimenez and Calvert-Lewin. Let me know what your thoughts are, guys, in chat while I drink some more drink, because literally my throat is just wanting to.
I like the look of it, actually.
Yeah, it's a nice team.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
I did the early transfer bringing in Sarr for Traore, but there's rumours that Traore could feature in that game, in the Brighton game. But still, I'm happy I did it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do see Calvert-Lewin getting something at Chelsea. He's been playing really well recently, and I watched him against Man U, and he was winning every header. He bullied centre half for Man U quite a little bit.
Yeah, he's been on fire, Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the weeks going forward. I mean, there's going to be some issues coming into the blank game week 31, which I'm going to have to work out how to get some more of those players in. Obviously, I don't have the luxury of a free hit or a wild card, so the navigating is going to purely be do calculated transfers over the coming weeks. Possibly going to have to take -4 and possibly even a -8 going forward. But I don't mind that. We saw last week that Steve did a -12 to bring in the players that he wanted to bring in. Paid off for him. So don't worry if you haven't got your chips, guys. Don't worry. Who's on my bench? Let me show you my bench. I've got the mighty, the one and only Cathcart on my bench. Away at Crystal Palace, Dendoncker at home, the ever so reliable Dendoncker at home to Brighton, and then Williams at home to Man City. There we go.
What are you going to do when Watford keep another clean sheet?
Don't even laugh. I mean, it's. I've set
one of them.
What can I do?
One of them things, though, isn't it, where you'd have put money on Liverpool scoring.
I mean, who am I going to switch Cathcart for? I'm not going to be putting Cathcart in my team. No way.
Take Trent out.
Yeah, absolutely. What am I thinking? You're not considering Cathcart over Aurier? No, Aurier is just too attacking to be honest with you.
I'd do that. Tottenham's defence is awful.
What, you bring Cathcart in over Aurier?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you're having a laugh, mate.
I would, honestly.
Aurier's playing as a right winger, mate. I'm not going to be benching
Yeah,
him.
you can't drop wing backs, can you? That are playing that
Absolutely
far
not. Absolutely not. He's part of the main bulk of the attack at the moment for Tottenham, so I certainly won't be benching him. Another Cathcart masterclass incoming, says FPL Maestro. And also, apparently, FPL Defender's taken some hits to bring in a nice team as well. Has anyone found out how many hits FPL Defender's done?
It's a -32, isn't it?
No, I don't know if it is, but I know. Was it you that commented that with a question mark afterwards?
Yeah.
A -32. So FPL Defender, if you're watching, let us know in the comments or in chat what you've done. I agree with Chris Packett, says Vince Chapman. I agree.
Yeah,
with
I think
Charlie.
I'm going to second that. I'd play Cathcart ahead of Aurier.
You really think Burnley are going to score? I mean, people in chat will go with Burnley win in this. I mean, are Tottenham really fallen from grace to the point that we're now looking at them losing to Burnley and unable to score?
I reckon so. Because they were awful last night. They were awful.
Interesting. I mean,
because Burnley have been really good defensively recently, and I think Palace are less likely to score than Burnley are.
Oh man, don't give me these conundrums. I'm set with my team. I think Aurier is too attacking to ignore. I think even if Tottenham do concede, I don't think there's a good chance that he can get a goal or an assist. We saw what he did last week, and Norwich have got more clean sheets than Spurs, says G-Wiz in chat. Is that true? Really?
That's true.
That is a
Yes.
shocking. That's a shocking stat for Spurs. If that's true. And obviously Boona's in chat as well. Boona, would you say would Boona bench Aurier over Cathcart? That's the question.
Of course he would.
Hashtag just saying. He's just dropping that there. Gee whiz. So enough of my team. Let's just talk about this double game week. Is this double game week come of a shock to you guys, or is it always inevitably coming? And are you excited for it, or do you think it's going to be one of those where you can comfortably own one or maybe two double game week players and keep up with the rest of the crowd? I'll start with you, Charlie.
Yeah, I think it's...
I think one or two, maybe if you're quite low down in rank, then maybe go for a few punts like Sterling, stuff like that. But it's just the fact that I doubt any Man City player, except maybe a few of the centre backs or Edison, will play both games. So I think one or two should be all right, depending on where you are in rank and etc.
Anish, what's your thoughts?
I think I was excited for it originally, but now this De Bruyne news, it's just sort of like it's just turned it into a normal game week for me.
Deflated that balloon a bit, isn't it?
Week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if he does miss the United game, he'll be playing the Arsenal game, so he'll just play the one game. That's my prediction. That's the likelihood of what's going to happen. I mean, it could just be Pep being Pep, and he'll play both games, and all those people bringing him out. Do you think people transferring out De Bruyne are being sensible? Do you think they're just overreacting? I'll ask you on that. Sorry.
I think personally, from my point of view, I'm not getting rid of KDB. Everyone has to play their own game. Depends what their team is like, but I wouldn't advise anyone to get rid of KDB.
And what would you say, Paulie? What's your thoughts on people doing a free hit in this double game week? I mean, we've talked about it being people in chat mentioning this double game week as a trap. You guys saying it's not something which you're overly excited about. Some people maybe activating their free hit. Is that something which you think is a good idea, or do you think that there is much better game weeks ahead? 31, 34, 37, where they can prepare better.
Yeah, I think there's not enough double game weeks this week to even think about a free. I'm just going into game week with just De Bruyne and Aubameyang.
Yeah,
and I think my team's pretty set.
I mean, who would you triple up with? Like, say you're playing your free hit. Let's ask you, Charlie. You've played your free hit this game week. Obviously, Aubameyang, possibly Aguero. Would you be looking at De Bruyne, or would you be bringing someone else, more like Sterling, like Paulie just said, and likes of Edison, what's your thoughts on tripling up on Man City and Arsenal? Do you think for those people that are looking at free hits?
Yeah, I think Arsenal probably maybe Leno, because he makes a lot of saves, so you get a save points possibly, and definitely Aubameyang. Probably Pepe as well. He's been doing looks good on the eye recently, creating chances. Only Aubameyang scored more than him for Arsenal. In the last couple of weeks. Man City, if I was going to free hit, I'd probably take punts on probably sort of players maybe people aren't going to look at, like Bernardo Silva, because I think he's quite one of the cheaper ones. He scored against United already, and maybe Aguero, but obviously you don't know how many minutes he's going to play, or Mahrez. I like the look of Mahrez because Mahrez has only played I think 1,400, 1,500 minutes, and he's got 15 attacking returns this season. So maybe Mahrez.
It's doing really well this season for City. But ultimately, I think in agreement, all of you guys here, so Dread FPL, one of his vlogs, Charlie, Paulie, and Anish, you from top to bottom, worth playing a chip this game week, Dread FPL?
Worth playing, sorry?
Worth playing a free hit chip this week?
Oh God, no.
Charlie?
Definitely not.
No,
just
no
to reply
chance.
to Charlie.
Yeah.
If you're using a free hit, would you really want to use your free hit and go for people who you're not going to guarantee games? Because it is pretty important chipping. So would you rather transfer players in that you know are more nailed on playing rather than Bernardo Silva, for example, who might get rotated?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably true saying that. But I think there'd probably be a lot of people maybe, thinking City might batter Arsenal. But yeah, it's a fair point, to be honest.
Because there will be people that watch the show that may have hit that free hit button already. So it's good to just bring this into conversation. I think it's important that we bring it into conversation, even though we're not looking at it ourselves. In terms of the common sense move, tripling up of each team and what players you would bring in for each team.
Well, if people have, I don't have him, but I'd like to have Saka.
Well, Steve-O's got him.
Yeah, I think if you're free hitting this week, you go 3 Man City players and then 3 Arsenal players.
Oh, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? You've got
Yeah.
to. Yeah, you've got to. And you've got to look for players that are going to be playing both of those games.
Yeah. I still go De Bruyne.
And that's where the worry would come for me with Aguero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know what Aguero's like.
It's like Laporte's injury. I think Otamendi would be someone I'd be going for.
Yeah, he's a good pick, I reckon. 5 million.
Do you see City keeping a clean in either of these though?
No.
No, I don't.
It's his aerial threat though.
Yeah, aerial threat.
He hit bad into from a corner and FA
He's
Cup overnight.
He scored against United as well in the league at home this season as well.
Yeah.
Steve-O mentioned Mendy earlier on today and yesterday. I think it was yesterday. What's your thoughts on him? Do you think he's going to be a good shout for these 2 fixtures? Do you think Zinchenko could come in at any moment and just pip him for the spot?
I think Mendy's
No, I think
probably first choice at the moment.
I was going to say on the chip front, if you have a triple captain, maybe Aubameyang triple captain wouldn't be a bad shout.
Triple captain. See, it's just that Man City away game for me. It depends on how.
Yeah, I
Arsenal's
think
set
if you
up.
triple captain Aubameyang, you're relying on him doing the bits against West Ham, aren't you?
Yeah.
Rather than Man City as well.
There's 2 scenarios that I've got going on in my head with Aubameyang, and I've got the armband on him at the moment. It's the scenario that they have a very open game with Man City having the majority of the possession of the ball, and then Arsenal counter-attacking on the break, Aubameyang getting in behind, getting some goals. Or we've got scenario B where it'd be Man City with the possession, Arsenal struggling to retain possession and to keep possession and not able to break, and then Aubameyang going missing and not being seen for the large majority of the game.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it's the home game against West Ham that I've got the armband on him for, really, and with the caveat that it's a bonus for me what he does against Man City. I'm not going to hold out all the hope in the world that he goes on a scoring run, but I just think that West Ham at home for Arsenal is a really juicy fixture for Aubameyang. I've got Salah on my team, and a lot of people will be going with Salah captain. But that's actually leads me into a good question for you guys. I know we could all post your teams, that we can go through your teams meticulously. I'm sure there's going to be interesting picks that you've gone for, but from top to bottom, Dread, starting with you, who is your captain this double game week and why?
Well, at the moment, I still have the captaincy on KDB. Haven't changed it yet. I'm waiting to see, get more information. And I have the vice captaincy on Pepe. If I lose my bottle, then all I'll do is switch the captaincy round between those 2.
Pepe, absolutely, wow. I mean, that is a massive differential if he was to do something in those 2 games, which on form he could easily outscore Aubameyang in those 2 games. So it'll be interesting to see what you do in the final moments before the deadline. What news you do get. We're all in the same boat. We're all waiting to hear the magic golden nugget of information that we can comfortably go with. Start De Bruyne. I mean, personally, I'm not going to be thinking of getting rid of him anyway. One Rivers Vlogs. Who is your captain and why for double game week 29?
Well, currently I've got it on the player who I brought in, Aubameyang.
Let me just. I will bring your teams up. Actually, hang on. So I see you got your team there. I will bring it up because you've gone to the effort of posting it in the team screenshots. Go on then. Talk me through your team captain choice.
Yeah. Currently got it on Aubameyang. I brought him in this week for Vardy. I've had Vardy for about 3 months, so yeah, got rid of him. Brought in Aubameyang, but I'm still not sure because even though Arsenal obviously they got knocked out of the Europa League, they were like pretty awful that game, but even like in the other games, you don't really know with Arsenal. Even though they've only lost once since Arteta's come in, you don't know. But maybe keep it on Aubameyang. I'm not sure yet. I could possibly just put it on Salah because he's a very explosive player and his record against Bournemouth speaks for itself. So I'm not sure yet. I don't have a clue who to keep the captain on.
Again, we'll be hopefully privy to early team news on Twitter. I mean, it's a stupid question, but I'm sure you'll be glued to the Twitter feeds to find out exactly what's happening in that Liverpool starting 11. Do you expect rotation at all?
What, in the Liverpool game?
Yeah. Do you expect Klopp to rotate any of his first teamers in that fixture?
I think Mane will get rested. Mane just didn't look. The whole of the Liverpool team didn't look up for it against.
Mane looked a bit off the pace, didn't he?
Yeah, he looked off it. I expect to be quite a bit because obviously they got a massive game against Atletico coming up.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw at least one main player rotated in that game. What's your thoughts on Bournemouth chances, Charlie? I'll ask you. What's your thoughts on Bournemouth's chances of getting a respectable result in that fixture?
It depends how they play. If they let Liverpool have all the ball, then they're going to get battered. But if they pressure them like Chelsea did, then they could get a result. They've got good quality players. King, Fraser on his day, Wilson. They've got players that can hurt Liverpool, especially the way they've been defending the last 2 games. So, but I think it'd be a comfortable win. But you never know what can happen because obviously Bournemouth, they've probably got the most awful run coming up. The bottom 4 or 5 teams, and they're going to want to get something out of it. Really.
For me, it's a confidence that Bournemouth have or don't have. They seem to be an all-time low in the table. And they seem to be really down in the dumps. And I think that if Liverpool get an early goal in that game, I think it's sayonara to their chances of getting a good result or at least a draw. So moving down, Paulie, who is your captain and why?
I've got my captain on Aubameyang at minute, and just purely because they've got West Ham at home and they've also got the 2 games. That's basically the only reason why.
Yeah, I noticed you've got
vice captains on Salah as well.
Yeah, vice captains on Salah. You've also got KDB in your team, like everyone else, like a gazillion of us. But the interesting one is your Zaha pick still. You keep it in the faith. Are you rolling a transfer this week?
No, I've already used it. I've got I put Vardy in for last game week and then got the early team news, so I panicked and took Vardy. So my plan was to put Vardy in just for last game week and then Aubameyang back in for this game week. So that was basically where it is.
So you talk me through that again. Sorry, you found out about Vardy last week.
I had Aubameyang.
You had Aubameyang.
And I actually had one of my friends were leaving party.
Yeah.
So I went out early. I did the transfer before I went on the Friday night.
To Vardy?
To Vardy. And then I found out that Vardy were injured, so I transferred Vardy out for Iheanacho.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I panicked. And then I've done Iheanacho out to Aubameyang because that was my original plan from Vardy.
An upgrade, that is. What an upgrade. and a decent looking team. I mean, again, you're back 4 playing at home. Interesting pick with Zaha. Now, frustrating owning Zaha, isn't it? I'd imagine it's it's just an enabler, isn't it, for you?
Did you see his missing last game?
That was horrendous, wasn't it?
I threw my Sky remote at wall.
Oh,
fuming.
He had about About 3 chances.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it's playing at home, but my plan were for even though Palace play against what do they play on Gameweek 31? I'll play Liverpool, don't they?
Mm.
My plan were to transfer Zaha out Gameweek 31 for someone else. So I'm going to keep him for next 2 and then do the transfer that week.
Interesting. Of course. Let's move on down. So, finally, Anish, have you posted your team in the?
Yeah, I've got it in there.
Got it in there. Whereabouts is
in
it?
the team screenshots.
Whereabouts is it?
Should be towards the bottom because I just recently put it in.
Oh yeah, I found it. Anish, are you comfortable with Game Week 29? And who's your captain and why?
Well, I've got it on Trent at the moment, but I think it's going to change to Aubameyang because he has the 2 games.
You gotta be putting it on Aubameyang, surely. I mean, I know we all like, Trent as a player, as an FPL asset, but for this double game week, I mean, it's got to be him, isn't it? It's got to be Aubameyang.
Yeah, it's going to be probably Aubameyang, and my team's probably going to look a lot different to that by the time the game week starts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So can I just jump in there?
Yeah, of course.
Anish, where's this? Come on, tell the news. You got like a plan. You meant to have done it
I've got
already.
minus 12
Your
planned for this week.
Your plan is a what? A minus 12?
Yeah, minus 12 to plan for 31, as well as looking at players that have good game weeks up to 31 and after.
Right, so you're going to be doing this before the deadline, I assume?
Before the deadline, yeah.
Right, so it's going to most likely involve, I would imagine, Martial, Grealish, Barnes, Traore. Talk me through this minus 12.
Right, so it's going to be Ings out.
You actually right? Okay, Ings out. Okay.
Martial out.
Yeah.
Dunk out.
Mhm.
And Traore out.
Let me write this down. Hang on, let me just write this down. Hang on. Ings out. Dunk out. This is when my pen literally decides to run out of ink. Right, it's a good thing I got another one. Right, Ings, Dunk. I've got to be joking. There we go. Ings, Dunk, yeah. Traore.
And Martial.
Ings, Dunk, Traore, Martial. Anyone else?
Yeah, they're going to go out. They're out.
Okay, so Ings, Dunk, Traore, Martial out, and who's coming in for them?
Jota.
You okay?
Fornals.
Okay.
Who else was it? Doherty. And Sarr.
Ooh. Jota, Fornals, Doherty and Sarr, Ings, Dunk, Traore, Martial for minus 12, setting you up for game week 31 and beyond. So you're gonna go with a double up with double up with Jimenez and Jota then. The Fornals pick is interesting. I mean the other 3, Doherty, Jota, and Sarr, I think are gonna really pay off for you. It's just the Fornals. Do you need to do the Fornals transfer?
Yeah, that's it. That will. Well, I could get someone for 0.5 more than Fornals. That's I think 6.8 million. Up to 6.8 million.
I presume you're doing that so you can have the players play.
Zaha 6.8 million.
Yeah, so you're doing that. You're doing that for 31. So how many players would you have in your team? Sorry, I'm not doing the maths at the moment. Would you be able to field a full 11 31?
No, I'd have 8 players for 31.
You have 8 players for 31, so you still be missing 3. But you'll of course over the coming weeks you'll be bringing in more. I would assume.
Yeah, I'd bring in 1 or 2 more over the next 2
bring in
weeks.
Cathcart.
Probably.
The legend that is Cathcart. I mean, I looking at that minus 12, we saw it with Steve-O. We got Anderson in chat, FPL Anderson saying he likes the minus 12. I mean, we should never like a minus 12. We should never like to do a minus 12. We should only be in a situation where we do minus 12 because it's absolutely necessary or it's going to actually benefit you going forward. The fact that you're going to be able to have 8 players plus the ones in the future, future game weeks to bring in to make the full 11, I think will work out. I mean, the fixtures in 31 are exactly like amazing, but I think yes, I think I can see logic in those moves. I really do. So yeah, I would say go for it, Anish. Good plan. Thank
I like them. I think they're great.
Yeah, good picks.
Yeah, just an update on the Man United game. Fernandes has been taken off.
Injury related or just a tactical?
No, tactical arrested.
Yeah,
He's been good and just looked fine.
Excellent.
imagine if he got injured.
Oh, just don't even.
No.
So yeah. Realistically speaking, is there anything about this game week that is there anything else about this game week that's come as a surprise? Obviously, Ancelotti red card's been rescinded, so he'll be now available to be on the touchline. Is there been handshakes apparently not allowed? Is that something? Is that true? I think I read that somewhere that handshakes.
Yeah, they're being banned.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm hoping they're
Wow.
going to replace them with fist bumps.
Fist bumps.
That's ridiculous.
They don't really shake hands anymore, though, do they? Just slap hands.
Yeah, just
And
slap hands, yeah.
Brush hands against each other. That's what they do now.
We talked about it. I think I just want to move the topic on a little bit now because we could be here all day talking about players selections and stuff like that. But generally speaking, a lot of people are going to have the Liverpool trio of some description. They're going to probably have De Bruyne in their team. They're going to most likely have Salah or Mane. Probably going to go with Salah captain. So unless you're on a free hit or on a wild card, which would be crazy to be doing, I don't think we need to exhaust any more about team selection for this game week. But I want to talk about something which Planet FPL Pod, me and Steve talked about it a few podcasts ago. But it's about the potential disruption for the fixtures and for the Premier League in terms of what's been going on in terms of the coronavirus outbreak. Now, I'd just be interested to ask your opinions. Do you think it's going to get to a point where we're going to see empty stadiums?
I think that could happen. If it escalates the way it seems to be going on the continent, then I believe that would happen because I think the games need to go on, but we need to be think about public safety. So yeah, closed doors could be a thing.
Of course, the reason I'm bringing it up, the first UK death has been recorded on UK soil this evening, and it's more cases are coming out, and I know people have got their own opinion on it. But everyone's got their own opinion on it, and some people are treating it far more seriously than others. And I think it's important to bring it up in discussion because I think it's something that is not going to go away overnight, and I think it's going to possibly affect our football. And I mean, we don't know. We don't know how far the government are going to go, but I know for certain that there is plans and measures in place to delay and keep the public separated, segregated, so to speak. So it wouldn't surprise me at some point if these stadiums, Premier League stadiums, do play games behind closed doors.
Igalo's just scored, Jason.
Igalo has scored another one.
Just imagine Liverpool getting the guard of honour in front of an empty stadium.
Well, this is what I was saying a few weeks. Oh, was it a few weeks ago? Was it last week? I think I spoke about it on the stream. I said, wouldn't it be really gutting for Liverpool fans? Oh, by the way, I'm so gutted for you guys. But it just would be it'd be weird. It'd be weird, wouldn't it? It'd be really eerie.
Yeah,
it would be weird.
But the thing is, they're saying that when the summer months are starting to come, when the warmer weather comes, apparently the virus is harder it finds it harder to survive out in the open. So this could all be hopefully a storm in the teacup, and everyone will not really it'll be one of those things that are just come and go. But we have to be kind of ready for it as a not only football fans but as a community as well. and do our bit to make sure that we don't aid the spread of this disease. But anyway, we are talking about FPL. We know, obviously there's a lot more information out there, a lot more clever people out there that can talk about it. But I thought I wanted to bring it up and just get your thoughts on it. But what the guys talking about in the chat? So Igalo scoring, that's what they're talking about. Of course, Igalo getting his second goal. Do you think Igalo could be a player for United that could be on the radar of FPL managers looking into the future?
Yeah, I've got him on my radar definitely because especially with my structure, I'm going to be looking at sort of like mid-range strikers for the rest of the season. So yeah, I've definitely got him in my sights.
And Charlie?
Yeah, it could be a good option. They've got a really nice end to the season, haven't they, United? On paper, a lot of green fixtures, even though they could be a bit tougher because it's against teams that are, fighting to stay up. But yeah, he definitely. What is he? 6.5?
Yeah.
He could be good.
Could be a
definitely.
bit of a bargain. It's again, if it's going to be assured starts. Now I know Ollie was talking to him about being a super sub, giving him some advice coming off the bench, and if he's going to start games, certainly someone that I would be considering. It's obviously too early to ascertain whether that's going to be the case. Obviously, playing in against the cup against Derby, will he play against City? That is the question. Will he start Igalo against City? We'll wait and see on that one, and it'll be good. It'll be a good little test bed to see how he does. If he does something against City, I can see people bringing him in.
Yeah, Martial's actually come on and Igalo stayed on the pitch. Martial's gone on the left.
I personally think that's his best position, out on the left hand side when he cuts in onto his right. I think that I think if Igalo can get the starts, I think he'll be someone that people need to look at considering. For like you said, for the reasons you said, a decent mid-range striker, possibly replacement for Vardy or Ings. Okay, I think we're pretty much there, guys. In terms of the stream, I want to say thank you to all of you guys that have come on and have a little chat with me. Talked about the double game week and did predictions. Thank you to Samir K for being on with me as a guest. And if you are new here, please hit the subscribe button. If you're enjoying the content that me and Steve-O are doing on almost a daily basis, please like the streams and share the streams on the Igalo hat-trick coming, says Vince Chapman. Stranger things have happened. Of course, he's on for the hat-trick now. He's got to get the hat-trick. But yes, share the streams on Instagram and Twitter, guys. It really helps, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. See you later.
Cheers, Steve. Jason.